It was a quiet night in a small town on Earth. The moon hung high in the sky, casting a gentle glow on the streets below. In her cozy bedroom, a young girl named Lila lay wide awake, staring at the ceiling. She was just an ordinary human with dreams of exploring the stars, but tonight was different. As she drifted off to sleep, she suddenly found herself in a strange vision. In this vision, Lila stood in a dark, vast space, surrounded by shimmering stars. A figure appeared before her, cloaked in shadows. The figure had glowing eyes that pierced through the darkness, and an eerie voice echoed in her mind. "Lila," it said, "you must listen closely. The Galactic Council has chosen you. They have decided to take your life to make an example of humanity." Lila's heart raced, and fear gripped her as she tried to comprehend the meaning behind these words. Suddenly, the vision shifted, and Lila saw a massive ship in the distance, its metallic surface gleaming ominously. The ship was unlike anything she had ever seen, with strange symbols etched into its hull. As the vision faded, Lila woke up with a start, her pulse racing. She sat up in bed, drenched in sweat, and realized that this was not just a dream, it was a warning. After the unsettling vision, Lila tried to shake off the feeling of dread. She joined her family for breakfast, trying to act normal. Her mother served pancakes, while her younger brother, Sam, joked around, making silly faces. The warmth of her family was comforting, but Lila couldn't shake the fear that gripped her heart. She glanced at her father, who read the news on his tablet. There were reports of strange happenings in the galaxy, unexplained lights in the sky, and whispers of a powerful alien force gathering strength. As days passed, Lila confided in her closest friends, Maya and Jason. They listened intently as she described her terrifying vision and the ominous warning it carried. Maya, always the skeptic, tried to brush it off. "It was just a bad dream, Lila. Don't worry about it," she said with a reassuring smile. Jason, however, felt a chill run down his spine. "What if it's real? What if they really are coming for you?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Despite her friend's attempts to comfort her, Lila felt a heavy weight on her chest. Every time she closed her eyes, she could see the dark figure and the menacing ship. It was as if the Galactic Council was watching her, waiting for the right moment to strike. She felt an urgency to do something, but what could she do against an alien force so powerful? One evening, as Lila and her friends were hanging out at her house, trying to distract themselves, something strange happened. They were sitting in her living room, playing video games and laughing, when suddenly a bright flash lit up the room. Lila's heart skipped a beat as she rushed to the window. Outside, she saw strange lights dancing in the night sky, unlike anything she had ever seen. They flickered in patterns, casting eerie shadows on her lawn. "Look! What is that?" Sam shouted, pointing excitedly. But Lila felt a chill run down her spine. It was as if the lights were a signal, a warning from the Galactic Council. She felt her stomach twist with fear. This was no ordinary occurrence. The lights began to form shapes, ships, that hovered silently in the sky. "Maybe we should go outside and check it out," Jason suggested, his voice trembling with a mix of excitement and fear. But Lila could only shake her head. She knew deep down that whatever was out there was not friendly. It was the very threat she had seen in her vision. As they all peered out into the dark night, Lila felt a sense of urgency rising within her. This was the moment. The Galactic Council was here, and they were coming for her. She turned to her friends, her voice shaky but determined. "We need to warn everyone. We can't let them take me. We have to do something." The tension hung in the air, thick with fear and uncertainty. Just as Lila was about to grab her phone to call for help, a loud, low rumble echoed from the sky, shaking the windows of the house. The lights intensified, and Lila's heart raced with dread. The chapter ends here, leaving readers on the edge of their seats, eager to find out what happens next. Will Lila be able to escape the clutches of the Galactic Council? What will she and her friends do to protect themselves? The suspense and excitement build, pulling the audience deeper into the story. As the lights in the sky began to fade, a scene far from Earth unfolded within the darkened chamber of the Galactic Council. Alien leaders gathered around a large holographic table, their expressions serious. The air was thick with tension as they discussed their most recent decision. The fate of humanity rested on their shoulders. One of the council members, a tall, imposing figure named Zarath, stood up to address the room. We have observed the humans for long enough. They have shown potential that could threaten our power. Therefore, we must make an example of one of them, he declared. The other council members nodded in agreement, their glowing eyes reflecting a shared sense of determination. The holographic display flickered to life, showcasing images of Lila, the young girl whose fate was now intertwined with the council's plans. This girl possesses a unique spirit and intelligence. We will target her to demonstrate the consequences of defiance against the Galactic Council, Zareth continued. The other leaders listened intently, aware of the power dynamics at play. While the council plotted, Lila's family remained blissfully unaware of the impending danger. In their cozy home, her parents were growing increasingly concerned about her well-being. Lila's mother, Sarah, was particularly worried. She had sensed that something was off ever since Lila's unsettling vision. The unease in her heart grew stronger each day. "Lila, we need to talk," Sarah said one evening, her voice filled with concern. "You've been acting different since that strange dream. Is there something you're not telling us?" Lila hesitated, unsure if she should reveal her fears about the Galactic Council. But she knew she could trust her parents, so she took a deep breath and shared her vision. Her father, Mark, listened intently, his brow furrowing with worry. "We will do everything we can to protect you," he vowed, his voice steady. "No matter what it takes, we won't let them harm you." Lila felt a rush of love and warmth from her parents, but the fear of the unknown lingered. Would their love be enough to keep her safe? Back in the Galactic Council chamber, the meeting continued. The leaders discussed their advanced technology, including cloaking devices that made their ships invisible and AI systems that could predict human behavior. They had the upper hand in technology, and it gave them confidence. "With our resources, we can eliminate this girl without the humans ever knowing what hit them," one leader proclaimed, his voice filled with arrogance. However, Zareth had doubts. "We must not underestimate the humans. They have shown resilience and strength in the face of danger," he warned. But the other council members dismissed his concerns, convinced that their plan was foolproof. Meanwhile, Lila's family was growing more vigilant. They took shifts keeping watch at night, peering out the windows for any signs of danger. Sam, always the brave one, even suggested setting up a few makeshift defenses around the house. "We can't just sit here and wait for them to come," he insisted, his youthful energy infectious. As the days went by, Lila felt the weight of her family's fear on her shoulders. They were doing everything they could to protect her, but how long could they keep it up? The pressure was mounting, and she knew that time was running out. The Galactic Council was closing in, and the threat of their advanced technology loomed large. Back at the council, the final plans were being laid out. Zareth looked at the images of Lila one last time. "Let's make sure this message is heard across the galaxy," he said, his tone resolute. The council members nodded, their sinister intentions clear. They were determined to teach humanity a lesson they would never forget. As the chapter closes, the tension builds further. The conflict is set, and the stakes are high, leaving readers eager to find out how Lila and her family will respond to the threat that hangs over them. Will they be able to protect her? The story continues to draw readers in with suspense, emotional depth, and the looming presence of the Galactic Council. With the threat of the Galactic Council looming ever closer, Lila's family knew they couldn't stand idly by. They needed help, and they needed it fast. After a heated discussion filled with worry and determination, they decided to reach out to the human rebels, who had been resisting the Council's tyranny for years. This was their chance to assemble a group strong enough to stand against the powerful aliens. That evening, they contacted their allies through secure channels. Lila's father, Mark, took the lead, explaining the dire situation. "We must gather everyone we can," he urged. "Lila's life is at stake, and we need to protect her from the Council's plan." The rebels agreed to meet in a hidden location, an old warehouse on the outskirts of the city. The following night, the atmosphere was electric with anticipation as rebels arrived, bringing with them a mix of determination and fear. Lila stood at the front, feeling a mix of anxiety and empowerment as she faced the group. "Thank you all for coming," she began. "I know the Council thinks we are weak, but together we can show them they are wrong." Her words ignited a spark in everyone present, filling the room with renewed hope. As they began planning their strategy, the first training session started. The rebels, along with Lila's family, practiced using the technology they had managed to scavenge. They trained with advanced gadgets, like cloaking devices that made them invisible and drones that could scout enemy positions. Fast-paced action scenes unfolded as they raced against time, dodging laser beams and practicing their combat moves. The training was intense. Lila took charge of a few sessions, teaching her newfound allies how to operate some of the technology. "Focus! Keep your movements swift and fluid," she instructed, demonstrating how to use a cloaking device to blend in with the surroundings. Her eyes sparkled with excitement and determination, motivating everyone to push their limits. The bond between them strengthened as they shared laughter and stories during breaks. As they trained, Lila often found herself gazing at the skies, wondering what the council was planning. Suddenly, in the midst of a training drill, a loud rumble echoed through the air. The rebels looked up, their hearts racing as they saw orbital bombardment ships slicing through the sky. The council had found them. "Get down!" Mark shouted, pushing Lila behind a stack of crates. The rebels scattered, their training turning into a fight for survival. Cloaked ships hovered ominously above, their sleek designs glinting in the fading light. The rebels quickly grabbed their gear, ready to defend themselves and protect Lila at all costs. The scene was chaotic, with explosions lighting up the night sky. But in the chaos, Lila remained focused. She remembered the skills they had practiced and led her group in a counterattack. Using their technology, they set up defenses and launched their own drones to scout the area, quickly adapting to the new threat. The fast-paced action was exhilarating, and everyone felt a rush of adrenaline as they fought back. The air was filled with tension and determination. And for the first time, Lila felt like a true warrior. She knew that this was just the beginning of their fight against the Galactic Council. As the dust settled from the skirmish, they regrouped, bruised but not defeated. "We need to stay one step ahead of them," Lila urged, her voice steady. "We can't let them take us down without a fight!" The rebels rallied around her, their spirits lifted by her courage. The chapter ends on a high note, with the rebels ready to face the council. The stakes have never been higher, and the tension builds as they prepare for the challenges ahead. Lila and her allies are united, and the gathering storm of conflict is about to unleash its fury. The audience is left eager to find out how their fight will unfold against the seemingly unstoppable power of the Galactic Council. The night had arrived for the climactic showdown between the rebels and the Galactic Council. The air was thick with tension as Lila and her allies gathered for the attack. They had spent countless hours planning, training, and preparing for this moment, and now it was time to put their bravery to the test. Their hearts raced with anticipation as they set out toward the Council's heavily fortified base, each step echoing the gravity of their mission. As they approached the base, the rebels moved in silence, using their cloaking devices to remain hidden from the guards patrolling the area. Lila led the way, her determination shining through her nervousness. "Remember our training," she whispered to her team. "We stick together and support one another." The gravity of the situation weighed on them, but her words ignited a spark of courage. The assault began with a coordinated strike. The rebels unleashed a barrage of attacks, disabling the security systems and creating chaos within the council's ranks. Explosions lit up the night as they pushed deeper into the base, showcasing their planning and bravery in action. The thrill of battle surged through them as they fought against the technologically advanced alien forces. Lila felt alive in the heat of the moment, her heart pounding in rhythm with the fight. However, amidst the excitement, tragedy struck. During a fierce firefight, a major character named Bonner, a trusted ally and mentor to Lila, was fatally injured while covering their retreat. Lila watched in horror as he fell, his last words urging her to keep fighting for the future of humanity. The shock of losing Bonner hit her hard, tearing at her heart and filling her with a deep sorrow. She had to fight through her grief. She couldn't let his sacrifice be in vain. "Stay strong, everyone!" Lila shouted, rallying her friends despite the heaviness in her chest. Bonner's memory fueled her resolve, transforming her sadness into a fierce motivation. The rebels pressed on, knowing they could not give up now. They were fighting not just for themselves, but for Bonner's legacy and for all of humanity. As they infiltrated the heart of the Council's base, the challenges intensified. They faced unexpected obstacles, including advanced security measures and alien combatants that seemed to anticipate their every move. Tension and suspense escalated with each step they took deeper into enemy territory. Lila and her allies had to think quickly, using their ingenuity to navigate the traps set before them. They encountered robotic sentries, and as lasers fired around them, the rebels worked in unison to disable them. "I'll distract them!" Lila yelled, knowing the risks but determined to save her friends. She dashed forward, drawing the robots' fire while her allies found cover. The plan worked, but not without cost. One rebel was injured in the chaos. "Keep moving!" Lila urged, her heart pounding not just from fear but from the adrenaline of the battle. Every moment felt like an eternity as they pushed forward, each corner they turned filled with uncertainty. They knew they were on a ticking clock, and every second counted. Finally, they reached the control room, the command center of the Council. This was their chance to strike a blow that could change the course of the war. With Bonner's memory driving her, Lila took a deep breath and prepared to confront the Galactic Council head-on. As they stepped into the room, the stakes had never been higher, and the tension was palpable. The chapter ends on a cliffhanger, leaving the audience eagerly anticipating what will happen next. Will Lila and her allies succeed in their mission, or will they fall victim to the Council's superior technology? The battle is just beginning, and the fate of humanity hangs in the balance. The moment had finally arrived for Lila and her fellow rebels as they stood before the leader of the Galactic Council. This was the ultimate showdown, where their courage and determination would be tested like never before. The air crackled with tension as they prepared to confront the embodiment of everything they fought against. The council leader, a tall, imposing figure with a chilling gaze, stepped forward, a smug smile spreading across his face. "You foolish humans," he declared, his voice dripping with condescension. "You think you can defeat us? Your kind is nothing but a primitive species, unworthy of existence in this galaxy. You are outmatched and outclassed." His words were designed to instill fear, but Lila and her allies stood firm, refusing to let his arrogance intimidate them. They had faced too much and lost too much to back down now. With unwavering resolve, Lila stepped forward. "You're wrong!" she shouted, her voice clear and strong. "We will fight for our lives and for everyone you've oppressed. You think you're powerful, but you'll see what humans are capable of when we stand together. Pray! You'll need it!" Her declaration echoed in the chamber, sending a surge of hope and courage through her team. This was more than just a battle, it was a clash of ideals, good versus evil. As the confrontation escalated, the battle began in earnest. Lila and the rebels fought fiercely, using the skills they had honed through countless training sessions. They moved as one, a well-oiled machine, working together to counter the Council's advanced technology. Laser blasts filled the air, and the sound of clashing weapons rang out as the two sides clashed in an epic fight for survival. Lila coordinated her allies, calling out tactics and strategies that showcased their teamwork. "Cover me while I flank left!" she shouted, and her friends responded without hesitation, providing cover fire as she darted into position. The rebel forces displayed remarkable teamwork, making the most of their training and ingenuity to outsmart the Council's forces. In the midst of the chaos, Lila faced off against the Council leader directly. Their eyes locked, and the tension between them was electric. "You're nothing without your machines," he taunted, but Lila stood her ground, her heart racing with adrenaline. "And you're nothing without fear," she shot back. This was the moment she had trained for, and she wasn't about to let fear control her. The battle raged on, with Lila and her allies pushing forward, inching closer to victory. Just as it seemed they might be overwhelmed, the rebels rallied together, igniting a newfound strength within them. They fought not just for themselves, but for every person who had suffered under the Council's tyranny. As the dust began to settle, it became clear that the tide was turning in their favor. The rebels pressed forward, breaking through the Council's defenses one by one. Lila's determination shone brightly as she fought with everything she had, embodying the spirit of her fallen friends, especially Bonner. Finally, with a final surge of effort, the rebels managed to overpower the council leader, bringing him to his knees. Lila stood victorious, breathing heavily but filled with an overwhelming sense of accomplishment. The council was defeated, and their oppressive reign was coming to an end. The story reached its resolution as Lila looked around at her friends, who were battered but triumphant. They had achieved the impossible, standing up against the overwhelming power of the Galactic Council. Lila's character strength and resilience had shone through, proving that hope and unity could conquer even the darkest of forces. As they celebrated their victory, Lila felt a wave of inspiration wash over her. The fight was far from over, but this battle had shown them that they could stand up against evil and emerge victorious. The ending was strong and satisfying, leaving readers with a sense of hope and determination for the future, knowing that good would always prevail in the face of adversity.